Welcome, everybody, to First Pitch Strike, a live podcast tonight. And there we go. There is Ethan. Welcome, Ethan. How you doing?
I'm okay.
Good, good. Season's over. You're ready to roll. You're back to work. Just enjoying a little bit of life currently, are you?
I'm trying to.
Trying to. Right on. Well, Ethan, tonight.
Besides a couple of incidences
Yeah.
I've had.
I we'll get to that. Told you when I got back from California, I got reconnected with a great dude out there, great umpire, and he immediately jumped on the fact he wanted to join us on the podcast. So tonight he's on, Mr. Dave Brown. Welcome to First Pitch Strike.
Oh, I'll tell you, Aaron, thank you, and Ethan for having me on. I think this is a great thing you guys are doing, and happy to be a part of it tonight.
Well, thank you for joining us. I do appreciate it. Sorry I hit you up a little short notice, but it was early in the week. I know you were busy this weekend at a conference, successful conference.
It was actually I spent a whole weekend with Angel Hernandez at a spiritual conference. Yeah,
okay.
And and he's a special dude. Met him and his wife, and it was really a good time. Yeah.
Well, good. That's fantastic.
At first, I had to process the name because I was not fully listening, and at first I thought he said Aaron Hernandez, and I said, "Wait a second, time out! How'd you do that?"
The umpire.
I had to reprocess it. That's why I stayed quiet for a second. I know exactly who you're talking about.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic. So, like I said earlier on the pre-show, when we're just sitting in the studio talking, we're going to jump right into this, Dave, if you don't mind, and we're going to go to recap in the first two games. Any thoughts, Ethan, Dave, on the first two games of the World Series? I know, Ethan, you're kind of like me. You don't really care because it's two teams that you don't really like, and
it's really good baseball. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
absolutely,
the talent on that baseball field is outrageous.
Yes, yeah, Dave.
I would say don't count the Yankees out. It is the Bronx Bombers, and this thing will go several more games, I think.
Aaron Judge needs to not strike. He needs to get back on it. I
just think that there's too much talent. This stage is set for this thing to go deep, and that's what I expect is going to happen. Even though the Dodgers up 2-0, Shohei's hurt. I do expect this thing to be a series, though.
I got a notification earlier saying that Dave Roberts said that Shohei will be in the lineup Game 3.
Yeah,
I did see that.
Watch the first swing of the bat, and you can tell whether he's in there to be in there or in there to play.
Yeah,
he has a swing that you cannot deny. If he's hurt, you'll know it. So,
absolutely.
I think he's really hurt, but he's going to try and tough it out. But that guy's swing is so pure. It's incredible. But I hope he's okay.
I fully expect him to be fully recovered. Well, I'll take a 90% Shohei any given day because he's better than most people 100%. So that's just me.
It's good to see. It was good to see Freddie Freeman hit because my late aunt was a big Freddie Freeman fan when he played for the Braves. She loved Freddie Freeman. And I'd almost forgotten he played for the Dodgers. And so I'm sure she was happy in spirit that he hit that home run.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, Ethan, you had made mention that, the Yankees pulled Garrett Cole after 88 pitches. What inning was that? Because I didn't see it.
I want to say it was like the 6th or 7th, and he was dealing. Or maybe it was a little later. I don't remember. I wasn't watching it. But I just saw that he was pulled after 88 pitches, and Derek Jeter was saying after the game that back in the day, facing Al Leiter in that 2000 series, Al Leiter threw 140 pitches in Game 6.
Absolutely, yeah, and I remember that. And I made mention I was on. If you didn't catch it, I'll post a link later. I was on KFBC earlier
And that,
this week.
sorry, keep going.
No, earlier this week, and they actually asked me about the pitching, and somehow it came up in what I was looking for. I don't see starting pitchers going very deep in the World Series anymore. It's just the way that they handle the pitching staff. You see it at the Legion level, Ethan, with your pitching staff. Dave, you see it all the time as an umpire there, where teams are trying to manipulate their pitching to where they can use them again in the championship game or in the semi game. And that's exactly what these guys are doing nowadays in the pros, too. It's a manipulation of the pitching staff. They want to use their studs in Game 7, but you're not guaranteed Game 7. I'm a firm believer. Let them throw 100. Let them throw 150. Whatever they need to do until they start getting hit, keep them in there. Roll with it. You get the win.
If nobody can hit you, that just goes back to the whole Blake Snell thing. He's throwing a no-hitter, and you're going to pull him?
Mm-hmm.
Just look at what he did this year. You leave him in the full 9 innings when he's throwing a no-hitter. Who cares if it's 110, 100, 105, 110, 115 pitches? He's throwing a no-hitter. Let him try and achieve that goal.
Absolutely.
And Garrett Cole, he wasn't throwing a no-hitter by any means, but the Dodgers couldn't touch him, and then you pull him out, and all of a sudden they put up 6.
Right.
I think it goes to analytics. Everybody is looking at effectiveness. They've got so many charts and effective rates on these pitchers, especially when they get deep into a game, to the point in which they'll get crucified if they leave a guy in when the analytics say you should take him out. So coaches are coaching kind of, I don't want to say backwards. I've never been a coach.
If he gets in trouble, absolutely take him out. Don't blame me there. He's dealing. Leave him in. Let him deal.
Yeah, and I think they're just so caught up in, his effective rate. I can imagine they've got a chart over there that says his effective rate after 89 pitches goes to here, and based on who's coming up to bat, we need to take him out. Now, is that a way I would coach? Probably not, but
right.
They're in the World Series, so
Yeah, but I'm trying to win a World Series, not I almost won my 28th World Series championship as a franchise, but I missed it. Oh, bummer.
But here's the thing. So once you take him out, you don't have re-entry of a pitcher, so you're gonna have to eat what you do. And you think, well, maybe they learned something, but again, it's a game of analytics, and a lot of coaches rely on that stuff. So it hurts. It hurts a fan.
A little bit longer.
I know. As from a football standpoint, my favorite team, I would love for them to use analytics with my quarterback sometime. If he's just thrown an interception, take him out. But they say, no, you gotta let him fight another day. So it's you have to live with the way coaches coach. And he had his reasons for doing that, I suppose, and it backfired.
Well, and I think I get the analytics, and the analytics work for the most part, which is why so many teams have analytics departments. I'm a firm believer in the eye test. If the eye test is saying he's on, keep him in, I'm rolling with the eye test. I don't care if the analytics say, hey, after 6 innings, he doesn't pitch very well anymore. Okay, I don't care about the analytics. He's pitching now, and this is the biggest time of his life, and it's one of the biggest games that our team has faced this season. Keep him in. That's me. I like the eye test, and I think some teams need to go back to that. I think that's what killed Scott Service in Seattle. I think that's also a lack of in what one of the many things that cost Grimold his job in Chicago is because he wasn't using analytics. I don't think he was a good coach, but that's a whole nother story. But, you can see where teams are using analytics and which ones aren't. And it hampers them both ways. So I get it. I'm a big eye test believer.
Yeah. So Ethan, as a coach, you're gonna go by feel.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, even last year there was like like last year in the game we were in against my old coach. It was later in the game, and they had a couple runners on, and we were like, should we take him out? And I was like, just I you got to put trust in kids. You got to let them prove what they can do, and if they end up, if you end up on the wrong side of that, you just have to eat it. But I don't know. I like putting if the kids like challenges, I like giving them that challenge or trying to put them in that situation to try and achieve that. You know.
Yeah. That's
So
some
I
good
mean,
philosophy. Yeah.
like if you're throwing a no hitter, I've had last 2 years. I've like three. Bradley Feeser, he threw a perfect game. That was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, it was against Casper, but he's throwing a perfect game. Are you gonna pull him in the top of the seventh just because the 1, 2, 3 guys are coming back up, and you don't want him to get a hit, or are you gonna let him try and achieve that?
And that
And
gets
it doesn't
into
it doesn't matter if
yeah.
he's at 88, 89, 90 pitches. He's got all week to gain that back. Let him try
Yeah.
and achieve that. And if he gives up that hit, you almost had it, bro. Try again next outing. You
Yeah.
know, but you can't just take away that moment from him, especially if it's a big moment.
Yeah.
Is this? I don't remember Cole's career. Is this one of the biggest spots Cole has been in, though? I mean, has he been in other big moments? I don't even
He
remember.
hasn't been in a World Series, I'll tell you that, because he played with the Pirates first.
So there you go.
Oh, he did play with Houston.
Yeah, but obviously they dealt him for a reason, which I don't understand. But again, like Dave said, I ain't the coach. I ain't the guy out there making the decisions.
I don't
So
know if
those,
there's a guy trying to prove what he's worth, like Garrett Cole, worth all that money. I say let him try and prove it.
absolutely, I
Show
agree.
Shohei's the perfect example. You give him a $700 million contract, and you're going to be like, all right, what are you going to do? He for all Los Angeles knows, he could have hit 32 home runs this year and been hurt half the season. But
Mm-hmm.
no, he went first player to ever go 50-50, went like 54 and 59 or something stupid like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Mm-hmm.
let him achieve what they're trying to do. Let him achieve it. If you take away the moment, you don't know if they're going to. And that
That's
goes the
fair.
same with money.
That's fair. Whew.
That's fair. And I would say that's fair. Uh, and most coaches coach a little bit scared. Uh, you know, the feel good moment is let him do what he can do, let him achieve. But they're paying you for wins and losses, especially in the big leagues.
Yeah.
And analytics say, hey, he needs to come out. You say, well, I want him to achieve what he can achieve, show what he can do, and then you lose the game. Well, somebody else will be sitting in that seat next year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
well, they
yeah,
lost anyway, so it doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. But and guys are going to be put to that test. Uh, the good ones, the old Joe Torres and the Bobby Coxes, they kind of
Yeah.
always knew what to do. They kind of always
Yeah.
just knew. And they didn't have a roadmap. It wasn't this is what I'm going to do in this situation every time. You play by
Mm-hmm.
feel. And that's what the good ones do. And they're good at
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I miss a good Joe Torre Bobby Cox managed game.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also miss a good old Lou Piniella tirade or
Oh, yeah.
Billy Martin tirade. I miss those too.
Ethan, do you remember Billy Martin?
A little bit, not too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Billy Martin was a classic.
I love
Uh,
Billy.
yes, he was.
Every once in a while, you'll get a manager trying to make his way up in the minor leagues who will have one of those meltdowns that are absolutely priceless, but you just don't
Yeah.
see them anymore. Which,
Yeah.
okay, I get, but yeah, I think that's part of the major league game that definitely is um, the biggest one that I miss because you
Yeah.
could see the passion in the managers too,
Yeah.
and
That's
you
all.
got to
That's
have
all
that.
changed.
Oh
That's all
yeah,
changed. Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
COVID changed a lot of that on the college and high school level.
yes it did, yes it
Let's meet
did.
at the let's meet over here at the coffee house. Let's not run on the field at each other.
Yeah,
So that's okay.
exactly,
And that's okay.
exactly. Too
Yeah.
funny. So we're going to switch over. We're going to go to the next one here, and we're going to discuss preparing the big games. And Dave, this is exactly why I wanted you on, is because you have that fantastic perspective that, as a podcast, we've never looked at before. Maybe a few times as an umpire because I've umpired, Ethan's umpired, but we never done it to the level you do it, where you're doing it as a career. You're doing, officiating regardless of the sport as a career. And I want to talk about how to prepare for the big moment, the big game, because I know these guys go in, they're professionals. They have played big games their entire life, but it's the World Series. It's something different. So, Ethan, I'm going to start with you and talk to me about preparing for the big game and the big moment as a coach. How do you, and a player, as a coach and or a player, how do you yourself prepare? How do you help your players prepare? How do you help your teammates prepare? What does that look like?
Well, as a player, I don't. As a coach, let me explain that first. As a coach, I just try and take the kid's mind off of the big moment, so they're not feeling the pressure. You know, so if they're
Mm-hmm.
down in the bullpen and they're like, if I know they're stressing out, I'll try and calm their nerves and make them laugh or something. I'll say something stupid or, I'll just take their mind off. I'll do whatever I can to take their mind off of it, whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
But as a player, I don't know. I kind of really didn't think about it. I kind of just, the more you thought about it, the more nerves you'd get. So I wouldn't really think about it, and I just say, "Give me the ball and let me go get these dudes out." You know.
And as this is going to sound extremely biased because I'm dad, but other people could see that you did not let nerves bother you. You did not let your emotions bother you when you were on that mound, which is a testament to how you coach now, is that you're coaching the exact same way as you played. Very methodical, limited emotion, if any, and you had the confidence to say, "Give me the ball, let's go." And you can tell that some of your kids are doing that now. And give me the ball, let's go. For as bad of games as some of these high school kids can have, because they're in high school, you can tell where your calming effect and your, hey, I don't think about the big moment, really permeates into how they're playing, um, which is phenomenal. I mean, you look at Reisdorfer. He was just a beast in how he played the game, but he was calm. He was collected. When George Marcus starts having those moments, you could tell there were times he just kind of looked towards the dugout. I don't know if he was looking towards you, if he was looking to get saved, if he was looking for help. I don't know. But as soon as he looked towards the dugout, you could see he refocused and went back towards the pitching and focusing on the pitching and just pitch instead of thinking about things. Um, which that's what you did. So I'm actually glad you said what you said in taking it off of their minds, helping them focus on something other than the nerves. So did you ever have nerves as a player?
Not that I can remember. I mean, the only nerves you get are in the top of the ninth or bottom of the ninth when you're about to win a state title or a regional championship. Trust me, the game in Gillette, most nerves I've ever had as a player, as a coach, that was ridiculous. That was insane. I have never yelled so much, so loud one inning than I did in the 7th of that regional
That
final
game.
game. Yeah,
So
I don't even remember it. I kind of blacked out, to be honest.
so Dave, let me ask you. I know you were on the field in California 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But did you see me in the press box scorekeeping and not really paying much attention and having emotion during that game?
I don't recall looking in and seeing you. Uh,
Okay,
no.
okay.
Yeah.
Because as dad and as a board member for Post Six Legion Baseball,
Yeah.
as a fan and specifically as a dad who has a vested interest, dude, I cried. I cried. I tried not to cry, but I cried during that moment because it was such a huge moment for not just Ethan, not just for the team, but for the community and the entire state of Wyoming because we
Yeah.
had never
So,
sent a team to Shelby.
yeah.
So that was
You
huge.
see, you see, had I made the connection, and of course I knew you were from Wyoming, and I may have glanced over there to see what you were doing. I wish I had, uh, but sadly I didn't. But yeah, that had to be emotional. And just listen to Ethan talk about the moment.
Yeah.
Uh, Man, I got goosebumps for what he was feeling. I sort of lived it the way he was describing it. He did a very good depiction of it, Ethan. Uh, those are big moments, man. And when
In
you
the
said I
moment,
almost blacked out, you said I almost blacked out. I'm like, man, I understand what he's talking about. You don't remember
it,
it.
and in those moments, you don't really know what's happening. You kind of just go with the flow. You know, we had a kid out in left field. His name was Julian Romero, and the only thing I remember is him. It was a play. There was a single in the left, and he came up, hosed it home. Was a dime. Kid got held up at third. He starts flaunting the head coach. I was like, Julian, stop. We were all yelling at him. Just moments like those. You can't really control what happens. You're just in that moment, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So Dave, from an official standpoint, you've been involved in a few big games. Um,
yeah, yeah.
a few moments where I'm sure the first time you umpired in the Legion World Series or the first time you stepped onto a football field as an official. I mean, that's those emotions
Mm.
as an official. Do you have those nerves? How do you corral those nerves? Is that something you can impart on your teammates, on your crew, and how to prepare for those moments as an official?
Yeah, several great question, uh, Aaron, and there's several different aspects of this thing. And I'll start with always something I always teach in training umpires, and something I practice as a white hat in football. Competency breeds confidence. And just the flip side, confidence breeds competency. So,
Hmm.
and it starts with rule study. And nervousness is so I compartmentalize this thing. Yes, there in big games there are nervous butterflies, and there are old school officials that say, "Hey, if you never have the butterflies, then you've lost the passion." There's some
Hmm.
truth to that. You're always nervous because it's a big crowd, it's a big game, it's a big atmosphere. But those butterflies don't last long. Once the
Sure.
first pitch or the first kickoff, they dissipate. But um, in preparation and the feeling of a big game, what are the feelings? It all goes back to, are you prepared? There, at some point in your career, the nervousness goes away because of your preparation. When I say that competency breeds confidence, the more competent you are, and that can be broken down into facets of physical conditioning, rule study, rules knowledge. The more you study the game, the more prepared you are for the moment. Then it becomes a let's soak this up. And you begin to think of things out on that field. Or, man, you know how many guys would give their right arm to be right here? And it's not a nervous thing, it's a confidence thing. And those are some of the memories about preparing for the big moment. Is you grow into learning. I need to be prepared to go out here and number one, not make a fool out of myself.
Right.
Number two, let these people enjoy this moment as much as I am. And how can I do that? By being prepared and not putting the focus on me. The more they're concerned about my performance, the less enjoyment anyone is going to have.
Right.
So the moment becomes, and honestly, I look at officiating. I look at officiating from a lens of less of me and more of the game. And so if you can focus more on the game, then really I'm getting more of attention, but in a different manner. People appreciate a well officiated game. That's what I strive for. That's the big moment for me is when I can actually go into a World Series, work that game, walk off the field, and have both sides appreciative of the effort. That comes with everything that it takes to going into the game. Just don't show up because you were chosen to do the game and feel like, okay, here I am, my way or the highway, and you're
Mm-hmm.
not prepared. So, great question, Aaron, but it does come down to several facets, and to me, it's preparation.
I like it.
The big moment requires a great deal and a great effort towards preparation and preparing yourself not to make yourself an issue in the game. And
Sure.
that's lost on a lot of officials, I think.
Sure. So when you're in those moments and when you're on the field, regardless of what field or basketball court or wherever you're at as an official, are you able to see if one of your teammates is like Ethan said, if they're in their own head, or if you can see that they have some nerves going on? How do you reach out to them and say, hey, just breathe? You know what you're
Oh
doing.
yes,
Do it.
yeah, yeah. So I've had situations where you got a new person on the crew or a new person on the field with you, and you can see that I've worked baseball games where the plate guy's struggling. Coach A is yelling at him, Coach B is yelling at him, the fans are yelling at him. Now he's forgotten what's a strike and what's a ball.
Right.
And so it's incumbent upon the crew to take that moment and level it out for him. So I'll walk up and I'll just maybe just tap him on the shoulder and say, "How you feeling?" Tell him a joke. Tell him you're doing great. I don't coach it. That's the point which you don't inject coaching.
Okay.
You see what he's doing wrong. This is a big game. He's here because he deserves to be here. I don't need to coach him as to what he's doing wrong. I need to give him the confidence to be himself.
Okay.
And
I like it.
that's where the knowledge of understanding people uh, comes in. So, and it starts with a pregame, Aaron. And how do you coach a crew? So you got two young guys on your crew, and they're going to go out here in this moment. It's the biggest moment they've ever been in their careers.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make them feel special. You have to make them comfortable enough to be themselves because that's what got them here.
Sure.
Now, it's like taking a kid to kindergarten or first grade for the first time. He's graduated preschool. He deserves to be in first grade, but he ain't used to this stage. So you have to make that kid or you make that child comfortable to go into that classroom and relax. That's the challenge of leading people through preparing for the big moments. I like to equate it. I use that to equate what it's like taking a official in a big moment and saying, hey, here it is, the big stage, you're here, but now let's make sure that you're comfortable because if he's comfortable, then they'll do okay. Now I found that to be true.
I like it. Ethan, questions?
No questions.
Learning?
Whoa, Ethan. Oh no, Ethan. Not gonna let you off that easy. No, from a coaching standpoint.
I'm taking it in. No, from a coaching standpoint, you don't want to. If like he said, if the moment's too big, you don't want to coach him in the big moment. You want to coach him at practice, where coaching's easier.
Well, let's flip this, Ethan. Okay, we're big game, state championship. Regardless whether it's your first one or not, this is not about Ethan's comfortability. But now we're out there. You got a crew, and you see this young umpire. It's his first state championship. Uh, you know he's struggling. How do you want to see the veteran on the crew handle this guy? I mean, let me ask you a question. You the first thing you're gonna do is look at the veteran. You gotta fix him. You got to help him. I've seen it. So
I personally try not to say anything. I try to keep my mouth shut because I was ejected one time. It wasn't a good outcome, I guess.
But here's what
I
I'm
got
trying to
yelled
pull
at a
out.
little bit.
This is a big moment for you too. This state championship. You know this guy's nervous. He's scared, and he's this moment may be too big for him. It may be, but you're looking at the crew, and you see the guy with the experience, the guy that this moment is not too big for. What is your approach to that guy on the crew? Because you really need him to help this guy. How do you convey what it is you see? And you're going to teach me something here.
I don't. It's hard to give you an answer because I'm not a head coach, so I don't have the head coaching abilities to go out to the umpire and be like, "Hey, can you make sure this guy's doing all right? Like, does he know what he's doing? But in like the respectful way. I don't really have, as a pitching coach, I don't have the authority to go out there and try and do that, if that makes sense. So
yeah,
I
would encourage
I don't know.
I would encourage you, and I'm glad you told me you're not the head coach. But even as a assistant coach, in baseball now, the coaches are not allowed to even speak to umpires, but that's not true. You can do anything. You can say anything in respect. Okay, so it's all about how you convey. So you go out for a pitching visit, and you see the chief umpire. He steps over and you say, "Hey, Dave, man, he's struggling. He's a good umpire. He's struggling with the moment. So, man, anything you could do to encourage him would be great." That's leadership. You didn't do anything to embarrass the crew. You asked the crew chief, "Hey, man, if you can settle him down, that would be great." And you know what? Maybe you'll help a umpire who's trying to become a leader to take the moment, because umpires know he's struggling as well. But the way you approached the question with him, the way you approached the subject with him, "Hey, Dave, man, I appreciate it. He's struggling a little bit. If there's anything you could do to help him with his confidence, he's a good umpire." The way you say that could change the whole trajectory of the rest of that game.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you said that to me as the crew chief on the field, it would show you got confidence in us as a crew, and you're just expressing your heartfelt, "Hey, this moment's a little big for him right now, Dave. Can you just help him with it? Not help him with his confidence. Just speak to his confidence a little bit." Hey, I'd be glad to walk in there and talk to you. Now we're working as a team. Look, I'm big on that. They don't teach that. It's not in a book, Ethan. That's human nature.
I never know.
That's human. Oh, that's human nature.
Good to know, though.
Now, and down the road, when you have to say something to me in a game, I have a ton of respect for you because of the professional way in which you asked me to help my partner with his confidence. Because this is not a performance. If you tell me this guy sucks, Dave, he sucks, and you need to do something, that ain't the right way to do it. But if you say, "Hey, Dave, this moment's big. It's big for my kids. It's big for you guys. It's big for this umpire. He deserves to be here. His confidence is reeling right now, man. If you could just go in there and help him with his confidence, it'd be great." Dude, I don't know an umpire in the world that was on the high school level that would shy away from being challenged in a way to lead people. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So when you're doing that, I guess question one is, have you experienced that, be it on the football field or behind the plate even?
Oh, absolutely.
Or at second base. I mean, are coaches picking up that bit of knowledge? Because honestly, as a guy who used to coach, as a guy who was an umpire, who is just a fan now, I don't see that interaction between
Yeah.
coaches and umpires or referees
And,
anymore. So,
and what I just gave you was something that I would like to see, but it's just really not allowed. And coaches in that moment are more demonstrative and disrespectful than they are encouraging. And so, it could be an oxymoron here. I could be asking people to do something that, in the spirit of the moment, they're just not capable of doing. But I know
sure.
that a calmer heads prevail. And if you're trying to win that game, the best thing we can do as a team is get this young man's confidence behind that plate back where it needs to be.
Right.
And maybe your catcher has came and told you something that I'm not aware of as a crew chief on the field.
Hmm.
And then that's information that I could use if I have to go in and speak to this guy about his confidence or to lift his confidence. That type of interaction probably unheard of on a baseball field, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And that's kind of where I'm going, Aaron, is
Okay.
I view things from a different lens. I view things from a leadership lens, and I don't think you got three teams on the field and we're all playing the same game.
Right.
Uh, So, in the abstract, if you have an umpire, a young umpire in a state championship high school game where we have a shortage of umpires, but he's earned his right in that game, but he's struggling, a head coach, a pitching coach, and the chief umpire should be able to work together to give this kid the confidence to get back on track. So, maybe it's a missed art. Maybe I'm spitting in the wind, but maybe I maybe I'll live to see the day when this thing that I'm talking about is really part of what we do to lead people to become better
Yeah.
officials
And I don't
and
think
better
you're.
coaching and better coaching and better
Oh,
coaching.
absolutely, absolutely. And I don't think it's an unrealistic expectation either. I think just seeing some of the elder statesmen, I guess, is a good word for it. They're going to be gone in 5, 10, 15, 5, 10 years, if not sooner. Let's keep them around. So moments like this, you
Yeah,
can impart on them and they can turn around and take somebody like Ethan under their wings and say, hey,
yeah,
here's how I'm coaching. Here's how you talk to an umpire. Here's where we can work together and get a
yes,
favorable outcome. Not that you're asking the umpire to make every call slanted in your favor, but at least every call to be consistent, to be fair, to be the best that it can be. Whether you win or lose, at least you're showing that the umpire is human. Where as I see it, I don't know that you feel it, but there's times we expect our umpires, our referees, to
yeah.
be well above human, which isn't a
And
very
and
fair expectation.
and honestly, I've segued. This is really would be a high school situation because ACC, SEC. If you're out there, then if we got to talk to you about your confidence, you don't need to be here. So that's not
Right.
going to fly. It's not going to fly in MLB. Uh, but in Legion baseball and high school baseball, it's a necessity, guys. That
Absolutely.
the young coaches like Ethan, umpires are not your adversaries. I meant are not your arch enemies. Uh, we actually should be a team, and it should be a communication that's normal. But people say, well, we're trying to win, they're trying to win, and it's Cowboys against the Indians, so all that nice stuff out the window. I just don't subscribe. I just, Aaron, maybe I'm too old for this, but I don't subscribe to that way of thinking because honestly, I think that Ethan, as a young coach, uh, that's an art of coaching that's not taught. How to speak to, how to speak to leadership, how to speak to crew chiefs. Uh,
Hmm.
there's a way that seems right, but in the end, it leads to ejection.
Yeah.
so, so yeah, I think there could be a lot gleaned from that on both sides. Yeah.
Now, with all due respect, I love Ethan's former coaches. Discussing things with umpires was not their forte. It was not their strong suit. Um, in To this day, it's still not his coach it still is not his strong suit. He has calmed down a lot. Is that fair to say, Ethan?
Who?
Tag.
Oh yeah.
He has calmed down significantly, but he is still a very intense guy.
Because if you get him going, he'll keep up the old days. I saw that this last year back at home or at Powers. That was awesome.
Yeah, but he still, it's not his strong suit to just calmly walk over to an umpire and say, hey, let's get some help for this guy.
Nah,
Because
he'll do his old man waddle out there
yeah. Yep.
with
Yeah.
the shoulders.
Yeah. So, I mean, in Ethan's case, he's had some really good coaches to learn from, just not in the ability to discuss things in a very productive manner with an umpire. Um, that's an art form that I think definitely does need to be learned. I like that thinking. I like the ability to say, "Hey, time out. Let's work together." I like that thinking, Dave. I like
Yeah.
that plan of action.
And I say this: look, the shortage of officials on the high school level is epidemic
Hmm.
proportions, and we have to start thinking outside the box, and we have to start preserving the atmosphere of the game. And
Absolutely.
I think that's where my heart is at in this question tonight when it
I
comes
like
to
it.
preparation. No, I know I segue from preparation to actually this, but
Now,
uh,
this is still part of preparation, in my opinion, because
yeah,
it's it's it, it's all encompassing. It really is,
yeah,
because if
yeah,
you aren't prepared to talk to an umpire, then you're not helping that umpire be prepared.
yeah.
If you're
And,
not willing to accept a coach talking to you, that's part of the preparation as well. So
yeah,
I
and
do think it's all encompassing.
yeah, and I think if you look at it from a standpoint, the one thing that our high school officials are not really competent at yet are the rules, are the film study. They don't get the things that Power Five, Division
Hmm.
One umpires and officials get, and it's a job in MLB. Those guys are going to all types of levels of training through the midweek to be prepared for the game. So
Hmm.
with that lacking on the high school level, remember the first thing I said was competency breeds confidence. So
Yes,
the level of competency on the high school level, because of the shortage, is what it is. You got guys out there who are not quite well versed in the rules. They haven't done enough study to understand the game. So then it becomes a game of confidence. And then if a coach is yelling at him, if fans are yelling at them, their confidence goes in the tank. Now you
right.
exacerbated the issue. So that's why it's such a big issue with me on the high school level, Aaron. And I love
I
the
like it.
question. Yeah, I love the question.
I do. So with big game moments and preparing, with your answer, I'm guessing, not to put words in your mouth, you're seeing the preparation for the big game in a baseball situation exactly the same as on the football field or on the basketball court or
Oh,
on the
absolutely.
ice as a hockey
Yeah,
official. So
yeah.
I that, I'm glad you say that, because I was hoping you would say, yeah, it's all in the preparation, which
It's all in preparation. Aaron, if you know the rules and you know where to go, you know where to be, then you let the game
yeah,
come to you. And you ask any athlete, and Ethan, I know you played the game. When you know where you're supposed to be when the ball's hit, then you just play the game. I don't know what position did you play, Ethan.
I was a pitcher only.
Okay,
I
but
did
you know,
earlier in my career. I played shortstop, second base.
but can you imagine playing pitcher and not knowing what base to cover on a base hit?
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, you have no idea.
yeah. I've been
You're gonna get
totally
you're gonna get
lost.
yelled at. Yeah, yeah. You're gonna get. And that's not good. Guys coming home and throws it over the backstop and you're not there.
Yeah,
You're supposed to be covering first and you're not there. Imagine not knowing where to go as a pitcher when the ball's
yeah.
hit. Same as umpire. If you know what to do, you know the rules, let the game come to you. And that's the preparation that we're after. And so that's what makes it a lot easier, Aaron.
I like it. I like it. Well, I ain't got nothing else, guys. I've learned a lot. I've taken a lot to heart as a board member on how to help our coaches. Um, I don't get to talk to the coaches very often because it's not my position on the board, but every once in a while, I do get to see them. I do get to talk to them and see how they're doing. And that's one way I can help support them is like, hey, how are you prepared? Are you prepared?
Yeah.
Where can I help you? I like that. I'm sure Ethan said, like he said, he just said soaking it all in. Ethan, are you completely soaked?
As a sponge.
As a sponge. I like it.
Ethan, I'm gonna come out. I'm gonna fly out there and get me some of that green Kool-Aid, brother.
You got to. I got all flavors. I got green. I got grape. I got orange. I got watermelon. I got.
I was watching you drink that green Kool-Aid, man. And you got me.
It's
smacking
delicious.
my lips.
Yeah, it's delicious. I got plenty if you want some.
Well, and Dave, you got a place to stay when you come out too, my brother.
Yeah, I tell you what, I look forward to coming out and visit you because I do want to, and I'm going to call you later this week, speak to you about a couple of things, man. And
Absolutely.
You said you were going to follow up with this, and it's been exciting for me, and I want to thank you. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. So, other than that, I ain't got nothing else. One of the things that I try to do every podcast is just kind of let people know if they want to follow us, be it as the podcast or personally, where can they find us? So, Dave, do you want people to follow you? How can they follow you, and where can they follow you at?
Wow, there are several places. If you my umpiring group is PSAAOS. If you Google psaos.com, you should find us on the Google map.
Awesome.
And I do have a nonprofit called hitspace.org. You can follow me at hitspace.org. We have a YouTube page. Everything I do in life these days is spiritually based, including leading officials. And that's why I think that the interaction between officials and coaches is a big part of bringing officiating numbers back to the high school level. But yes, please follow me on a couple of my sites as I will continue to follow my friends here, Aaron and Ethan.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining. Ethan, where can they find you?
Find me on Facebook, Instagram. Just type in my name. I do got one thing. Can it be funny? Not kind of related. I mean, It is kind of related, but can I give the "Don't Be Stupid" award to somebody?
I'm afraid to ask, but yes, you can.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
I want to give it to myself.
Oh no!
Really?
Yeah. I tried to find a grinder at work a couple weeks ago, so don't do that. Learn from your mistakes. I didn't chop my finger off. It's still here, barely, but.
Wow. Be careful, brother.
So Dave, as background to that, growing up, my dad would get hurt or he'd have issues, and he would always call my mom, or he would have the hospital person call my mom, or even me at work sometimes, to say, I'm okay, but I'm at the hospital. So my wife and I we're on vacation. We're on a cruise ship, just waiting to leave port. And Ethan calls and he says, "Hey, Mom, is Dad around?" And she's like, "Yeah, he's right beside me. What's going on?" And he goes, "Well, I'm okay." And instantly, I'm like, "Oh no, what did he do now?"
Like grandpa, like son.
Yeah. He's like, "But I'm at the hospital." I'm like, "What'd you do?" And he did some serious damage to his finger with that grinder. But you know what? Life happens. He's good. And we're like, well, okay, get it taken care of. And, we'll get things taken care of. We can't do anything now because we're in San Francisco.
Yeah.
But just let us know what's going on. And he did. He's been very faithful in making sure that we knew what was going on. He came over last week, tried to get the stitches out, but they just weren't ready. And my wife was like, I ain't touching that. Nope. I usually would, but nope, not touching it because that's still too big of a gash mark there. So, yeah.
All right, Ethan, we allow you to give yourself that award tonight.
Yes. See, I'm a winner. What can I say, guys?
Oh, too
Yes, sir.
funny. So you can find me on Facebook, X, Instagram, Snapchat. Just search Aaron Casey, or um, you saw my X handle there at a Ron 1PK. Search that. Searching the names are awesome. Facebook, Instagram, and X for the podcast as well. Follow us there. It's kind of hard for me to run the social media, but I definitely try. During the off season, I'm going to try a few different things to keep up with some fun stuff there. But yeah, every once in a while, Ethan and I'm sure we're getting ready to figure out when we want to go catch the Kraken down in Denver for a hockey game, because we're sports fans. Dave, you're a sports fan.
Yeah.
You're in all these areas, and that's we appreciate it. So check the social medias out for our adventures when we do go to other sporting events. Other than that, Dave, I love what you do. You talked to me a little bit about it when we were out in California, and I just love what you do. And being there in North Carolina, as Ethan switched gears, I'm going to switch gears again here real quick. Um, you've been on my mind a lot, and you've been in my thoughts and prayers with your community and the just absolute total devastation that North Carolina as a whole, the state and the community and the individual communities have experienced. So I'm going to call an audible here, E, if you don't mind. I'm going to, Dave, if you don't mind. I'm just going to take a quick 30 seconds or so to just pray for you and your community. Is that cool?
That would be great. That would be
Awesome.
welcome. Yes, sir.
Awesome. God, I just thank you for this day. I thank you we can come together, talk sports, talk preparing for sports and what that looks like in our minds, in our hearts, and just on the field, and how we prepare for that. But right now, we're just going to pray for North Carolina, the recovery from Helene and the devastation that has been there. Asheville, he's close to Asheville. He's got friends there in Asheville, and I pray you'd reach out, touch them, and cover them with your blood and wrap them in your arms of comfort and love. And just give Dave words of comfort and words of advice on how to help. And where you need him, just put him, God. We know you're going to do that, and we thank you. So, that said, just bless us as we go into this week. Put us where you need us to be throughout the week. In your name, amen.
I have
Dave,
to take my hat off.
oh, you're good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Absolutely, my honor. And we're going to let you go. I'm going to end the stream, so don't hop off just yet. But as soon as I end it, then you're free to do whatever you need to, even if it's stay in chat for just a few extra seconds. So, again, check us out. Any podcast platform you desire. Spotify and Amazon, or not Amazon, Spotify and Apple are the big ones. Hop on, give us a review, listen as often as you can, or go back and watch us on YouTube. Thank you much, guys, and peace out.